Hi sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn on your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying massive shout out to every one of you for all the love and support you all give me here. I am grateful and you are so sweet. Thank you so much. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about this man explaining the new Jim Crow, how it is affecting Black people. I am going to leave, I have done the first video he did on this, and so this is the second video he is making on this. And if you want to see I don't know, maybe some of you never saw the first video, or you want to see the first video he did on the new Jim Crow, why not feel free to let me know so I can put the link in the comment section for you all. But I am going to put the photos so you can see how he started it, the new Jim Crow era, disenfranchisement, second-class citizenship, and a barrier to voting, barrier to education, barrier to employment and housing, right? And then he went further to do the second one, and the second one is packed with so much, so much, and he did a great job breaking analyzing it and all that. And to even think that this is coming from a former white supremacist is just something really very amazing too. And he took his time to explain this because he called it his aha moment, and he explained it, how Black people, or what Black people will be facing from the new Jim Crow era, the second-class citizenship, barrier to voting, education, employment, and the rest of it. And I think he really did a great job, with the explanation and all that. A lot of people also stitched to the video to also add their point and all that. And so we're like, oh, yo, we are inviting you to the cookout, but we're going to monitor you and the rest of it. And you know what? I'm just going to roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it. And I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. And straight up, here we'll go.
A lot of people ask me, what was my aha moment? What made me change my perspective? And it's when I saw this. So a Black person in the United States during the Jim Crow era faced second-class citizenship, disenfranchisement, barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, and barriers to housing. Then we had the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which stated we could no longer do any of this. We could no longer discriminate based on race. So in 2023, what is the only group of people that we can legally discriminate against? We can legally relegate to second-class citizenship, create barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, barriers to housing. If you answered convicted felon, you are absolutely correct. In 2023, a convicted felon is the only group of people that we can legally do all this to. Now, do you believe it's a coincidence that 1 in 3 Black males carry this label as convicted felon, as opposed to 1 in 17 white males? If you answered yes to that question, let's take a look at what's happened since the dismantling of the Jim Crow laws. We've had a 700% increase in our prison population. We've gone from 300,000 inmates to as high as 2.3 million. Now, I do believe we're back down to about 1.8 million today. We had the law and order agenda, which was an increase in police spending and a decrease in school funding, which created the school to prison pipeline. We also had the war on drugs, which we now know was a war on people. We had the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, and we had the 1994 Crime Bill. Now, the 86 Anti-Drug Abuse Act differentiated between rock cocaine and powder cocaine, which we know predominantly impacted the Black community. And the 94 Crime Bill created harsher sentences, lengthier sentences, and minimum mandatories. We also know that Black people make up 53% of all exonerations, 69% of exonerations for drug crimes, and they're 7 times more likely to be wrongly convicted. So when I seen all of this, I realized that racism in this country never ended. We have a systemic issue. A lot of people ask me, what was my aha moment? What made me change my perspective? And it's when...
All right, so I would urge that you listen to the entirety of my video before you come for me. Okay, You were spot on up until you got to the felons part. And I'm not saying all felons haven't learned their lesson or whatever. I'm not saying that. I am saying the part where, as a former correctional sergeant, this is my point of view. When I used to run prison units, I worked at 4 of them, 3 of them max security, 1 a female max security. And these felons that are incarcerated, it didn't even matter what race they were or gender. These people are extremely dangerous. You know what? I've had to put a couple of them in their place as far as use of force was concerned. I had a guy I wrote up for disassembling his fan, which is a B write-up in Indiana. And this is when I was an officer before I got promoted. And it turned into, yes, I wrote you up for a B write-up. Now he's about to lose his visitation. Whose fault is that? And then it turned into Mortal Kombat in the fucking office. I swear to God. You imagine all the shit you see in this video game, except in real life. That's exactly what it is. Because these people, when they fight you, it's not just a fight. They are literally trying to harm you. Like, seriously harm you. So it's like that's why I said it's like Mortal Kombat. And I'm punching this guy 4 times in the back of the head. I karate kicked the shit out of him. Roundhouse kick, side kick, you name it. Any kind of kick I did in this guy, and he did not feel not a goddamn thing. OC sprayed his ass. He didn't even feel that too. It took a bigger guy than me to grab him by the throat and slam him into the floor. That's just one of the fights I've been in. Just one. That's just one. Not to mention I had the one I had to kick across the room for swinging a mop stick at my head. Yeah. So that's just 2 use of forces out of countless ones that I have been involved in, putting these people in their place. I kid you not. Go right ahead and trust me, if they are having hard times because they're a felon, trust me when I say that shit is well deserved. Trust me on that. I'm not gonna say there's some that haven't got their shit together and learned how to work around that, but there's some that they have not learned their lesson in life, and they deserve every bit of what they got, and then some.
A lot of people ask me, what was my aha moment? What made me change my perspective? And it's when...
My Caucasian friend here. Your accountability is on a different level. Only because I know your history, I'm having troubles inviting you to the cookout. You know what? You're invited to the cookout, but you're going to be under strict surveillance. If that's cool with you, love poet, I want to see this as a concern. Everybody, please watch this video. This man is very smart and very informative. Was you ever a white supremacist? Really? Are you sure you was a white supremacist?
People ask me, what was my aha moment? What made me change my perspective? And it's when I...
Hey, shouts out to this creator. If you have not watched that video, go back and check it out. But excellent breakdown. Thank you for the knowledge. Like, to put that in numbers is great to hear. And coming from the other side of the aisle, so to speak, it lets us know that you have our backs, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Explanation. Everyone, go to that video, go and watch it in its entirety, as well as go make sure to like, and if you guys can share, go ahead and share. That was some very good lessons in that video. But I want to add to the point of what this person just said. Also, not only is it that all those are in place and how we're imprisoning people, but I want all of you to go and look up the 13th Amendment. Go look up the 13th Amendment as soon as you get a chance. Once you look at it, you will see at the end of the 13th Amendment that there's an exception for slavery. Yes, for slavery, for incarcerated people. That means that slavery was never truly abolished in this country. That means it is still legal. And with the amount of policing that we have in this country and the amount of people that are growing and being put into our carceral state in this country, that means that we are having more and more enslaved people as we speak. And every single time they say that we're going to fund the police even more, guess what? That means that they are making more conditions to enslave more people. Also, remember this. Black people are the trial run. Black people are the canary in the coal mine. If they're doing it to us, that means they're going to do it to you. So if you're white, you also need to pay keen attention to this, because guess what? They did carceral slavery to us. They did chattel slavery to us. Guess what? They're going to do it to you too, because there's too many of y'all for them to not make profit off of. So guess what? They're doing it to us. It's going to happen to you. Watch the space, be wise, and wake up. Because guess what? This is their plan, to enslave you. That is the goal of capitalism, slavery. And it's not going to change unless we upend the system, flip that table over, and remake the system in the way the workers and the poor want it to be. A system that is good for all, not just for a small few.
So if you get a chance, watch that original creator's video entirely, because he does a fantastic job of kind of breaking down the linear progression of how Jim Crow never ended, and how it's just carried over to our criminal justice system, and how systematic racism has only continued, and how it's just looked different. And it really changes your perspective. And that book that he's referencing is a book that I had read a few years ago that kind of brought me to this conclusion that systematic racism penetrates different parts of our society, and this one kind of goes into depth in the criminal justice system. So I would recommend go back, watch this video, and pick up that book, because it is absolutely fantastic. And if you really want to learn about systematic racism, pick up that book and then continue on, because there's other references that are going to plainly point out how Black, brown, and indigenous people are still subjected to racism and disenfranchisement in our society.
Dude, I'm going to make this clear from the perspective of a Mexican avocado farmer, okay? I know a thing or two about the drug trade and about this war on drugs. So here's the truth. They're not really hiding it. And this is around the time where history classes stop. 1964 Civil Rights Act. 1 year later, the death of Malcolm X. A few years after that, you have the Civil Rights Act of 1968. This is the one that we really recognize. Also, arguably the one that created urban reservations. Then a month later, the death of Martin Luther King Jr. The next presidency immediately rolls around no different than how Donald Trump was suddenly summoned after Obama. President Nixon and the Southern Strategy. President Nixon wins and the war on drugs begins in 1971. Before that, there were other policies. For example, the Bank Secrecy Act was a modern foundation for the global financial system, but it was a monitoring system, and it was a trust-based system, and guess who's trusted the least? So guess who has least access to housing, least access to credit, least access to fair loans? And this is particularly why, Bitcoin and crypto folks are, so fanatic. It's a system that is designed where we're actually trusted not to be criminals. Right now, everyone is essentially always scanned every time they use their credit card, their Visa card, or whatever. They're scanned to be determined as a criminal or not. I work in this industry, so I know what this is. So yeah, that's the drug war, and it's been persisting for quite some time. It's based on agricultural patterns, right? You'll have the coca leaf in Colombia, it'll ship upwards, we're going to buy cocaine. It doesn't matter if it's crack or cocaine, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't actually matter to the people that it affects, so. And that really kind of summarizes the entire story behind modern critical race theory. So it's not really much of a pattern that, certain types of people in the country want to ban it from schools. And this is an education platform that I'm building. It's essentially, I target Latinos, but I also have plenty of Black folks, plenty of urban folks. And they use my application. I generally make it free or $1, and I create scholarships out of it. You'll learn how to code, build businesses, learn about finance, learn about purchasing homes, learning how to grow on social media and modern tech remote skills. I mentioned that because that was the entire point of Bitcoin. That was the entire point of the drug war. It was to harm those communities and to kind of control the economics of anyone that could have, dethroned the United States from the position of greatness that it was after World War II. Yeah.
So this is all I got from this video, and this, I know he has done the first one, the new Jim Crow, like how it affects people. There is one he did, and this is the second one, expanding on how this Jim Crow is affecting Black people and all that. Like I keep saying, I have read a lot on this Jim Crow, how it has never ended. Rather, it's evolved and all that. And you all can also, like, concord too that Jim Crow era never ended. Rather, it's evolved and also still, like, Black people are facing it. And like one of the brothers said that, white people actually think that they are fighting Black people, because like everything they do is that they keep like, it's all about Black people. Let's fight them and the rest of it. The truth is that when they are done with Black people and they do not have other people to continue with, they continue with them. Yes, they will continue with them. Because like, they think this enslaving and all that is only going to affect Black people. So for that reason, let us lay back, relax, and not even bother. Not even because like, it's not going to affect, because like everything that is happening is always like them saying it is not our problem. It is not going to affect us, but eventually it is going to affect them. There were some videos that I once did here, like, where white women were saying that they never knew that this is gonna get to them, like, because like Black women have been screaming this all years and they never listen. So they were like, if we had known, we would have listened to Black women while they were screaming and shouting. But no, that we thought it was never ever going to like, get to us. That was why we never paid attention. But right now it is affecting them. Some certain things are affecting them, and they are looking for a way to make amends, and then like, want to always listen to Black women. So like I said, if you think you are not going to join the war against all this, because at this point in time it is not affecting you, I want you all to be ready, because eventually it is gonna get to you. All right, so this is where I'm gonna draw the curtain. This is all I got to say. But if there is anything you will also want to like enlighten me on, why not? Feel free. I will be in the comment section. I read all your comments. Don't think I am not reading. I read all your comments. And I absolutely want you, like, to enlighten me more on some certain things and the rest of it. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain, and I'm saying a very big thank you to everyone for all the support, and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.